emergency exits are up there to your sides. So anyways, please give it up for your host, Kylie, Shuri, and Brianne Milan.
Welcome to Asian Fest 2017, guys. How you guys doing?
I think we can do better than that.
Yeah, come on, guys. Come on. You guys shouldn't be doing that because I had a line I had to say, but can we do it again for low energy so I can do my script?
Oh my god.
Right, how's everyone doing today? Come on, guys! No! It's a script! Alright, I'm just gonna say it. Acting, you guys acting like your mama didn't feed you before coming to college. Sounding like a crowd of broken dreams. Even I can do better than that. Let's hype it up. Give me some energy, guys! Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, right, man?
So, first off, we got Joiner Dance Crew performing, and then
And we have a rising rapper who will be performing his new hit single, Burn It Down.
so we're gonna need a lot of participation from the crowd for these first two acts, okay? So, for when we got Emma up here, and you see her doing some good ass moves.
Oh, yeah. And
I want y'all to let me hear you feeling it, alright? Let me hear you.
we got a good audience tonight, man.
And then when Simon's up here and the mic is pointed at y'all, I'm gonna need y'all to go, oh yeah! Let's try it. First off, this side.
All right, pretty good. What about us? Oh, yeah!
I feel the energy.
All right,
Let's hit the lights.
let's get started, guys.
Trying to make it a little bit. Try to keep up, cause you gotta stay fit. Starting near, but you'll have to hear. We just keep it going, so we'll play it by ear. We got the fire, but we're not for hire. So let's start a huge plan and make it get higher. We got the flame going. How hot is it getting? We got that fire burning hot. Now let's give it a shot. Just turn it up inside the house, whether you're ready or not. We're gonna keep it going, cause it's getting real hot. So we light it up here, burn it down. Let's burn it down. Burn it down. Take it to the top, make sure it doesn't pop. Make it go boom, how just can't let it stop. Just let it burn, now just watch and learn. We gotta light the fire with everything we earn. Get ready, let's go, don't ruin the flow. We made it this far with everything we know. Take it to the center, it's gonna go real high. Come on, make the leap, we're gonna fly. So we're gonna keep going. We'll just keep burning. We got that fire burning hot. Now let's give it a shot. Just turn it up inside the house, whether you're ready or not. We really keep it going, cause it's getting real hot. Is there anything to fear? Burn it down. Time to burn it down. Burn it down. Burn, burn, we gotta burn it down. Burn, burn, we gotta burn it down. Burn, burn, we gotta burn it to the ground.
So,
Come back real quick, come back.
right, so what exactly were you planning to burn down? Did you say burn down a what? All I hear was spitting bars and stuff, but what do you want to burn?
I don't know. Maybe some buildings on campus that need to be rebuilt. The pool.
Ooh.
I feel that.
All right, thanks, Simon.
Get out.
Yeah, get out.
All right. Up next, we have Chang singing a beautiful love song.
And next, we'll be having some spoken poetry performing by Christine, Marvita, and Hannah. Let's give it up for them. I hope these touch your soul and spirit, like how you touch mine.
So what I'm going to be singing is Zamong. It's a Hmong song in the Hmong language. The Hmong written language popped up about 70 years ago in the 1930s by some French guy that my dad told me about. Shout out to my parents, where are you? Hi Mom, hi Dad. Let's begin. Hãy subscribe cho kênh Ghiền Mì Gõ để không bỏ lỡ
The warmth of her body stained her arms with blood the color of mehendi. The lids of her eyes, painted thickly with the ashes of her father-in-law. Beads of sweat adorned her neck and glistened beautifully in the light of the Madras sun. He tied the Mangal Sutra around her neck, slowly brushing her hair away. The first time she was ever touched by a man. With the end of her sari tied to the start of his Angavastram, they would be bound together for eternity. She tugged on the sari out of curiosity, wanting to see if she could escape. One sudden jerk, and she was free from her shackles. With the snap of her fingers, she disappeared. Nobody noticed the empty sari following the groom while he went 7 times around the fire. Pranayama. So in the Hindu epic, the Ramayana, there's a character called Hanuman, and he was Rama, the title character's most loyal follower. He was also a demigod. His father, the wind god Vayu, carried the divine power of Lord Shiva to the monkey princess Anjana's womb. He impregnated her simply by blowing into her womb. I rode the wind once. He was tranquil and tender. For my first time flying, we slow danced across the sky to the music he made by simply breathing in and breathing out, and breathing in and out, and in and out. We moved together in and out, and as we swayed together, breathing in and out, and in and out in harmony, the music got faster and faster and harder and faster and harder and harder until we stopped, and it stopped. He took one last breath in and let it out into my womb, where the music began to play once again. Kanchana. Kanchana wrings the last of her daughterhood from her long black hair. Her father's advice and her mother's recipes swirl around in the shower drain. The strong scent of shigekai is buried by the smell of her grief and funeral pie. Carelessly, she tries to wash the ashes of the center of her universe from her eyes, but they mix with the dried-up tears and stain her cheeks with soot. She hides her hair with her anger under a towel and carries her baby. The baby holds her face in its tiny hands, and Kanchana smiles. The minute her smile touches her hair, her dark curls start to burn. The flames encompass her body, and the baby giggles in her arms. When the fire begins to die out, she glows, and her hair is Kanchana, golden like the sunlight. Namma Bengaluru, landing in Kempegowda International Airport. Eyelids heavier than bridal jewelry I will carry someday, I stumble off the plane and into the silence of the dawn, about to be broken into shards of mirror, fragmenting the Firangi I had become in my own home. As I step outside the terminal, I see countless waving hands of people who could have been my family in another life. Buried in the crowd is a familiar face. Appa takes the weight of my bags and he carries them. Wordlessly, we walk to the car. Rickshawalas swarm around us, holler at us to come with them. They say they'll take us home. Amma. Someday I will have to burn the body that struggled to hold your infinite soul, but I can't promise you any tears. I owe you so much more than I can make with my eyes or my hands. What I owe you is the air I've breathed into my lungs. I owe you every hair I've cut off my body and shaved off my head. I owe you the wishes I've blown away in eyelashes. I owe you every drop of blood that has fallen and flowed out of me. I owe you every moment that my heart has raced, every moment that it has dropped. I owe you every smile, every giggle, every quivering orgasm. I owe you my first love, my first child. I owe you the first gray hair that I will pluck from my head. I owe you the wrinkles that will guard my smile and my eyes. I owe you my love and my loss. I owe you so much, but all I can give you is my life. Thank you.
When I was in middle school, I taught my friends how to cuss in Korean. I didn't cuss in English until I was halfway through high school. Before then, shit was not safe. Shit was unruly, but 젠장 made the cut. 젠장 when I woke up, too late for school. 젠장 at the TV when I died in a video game. 젠장 at my mom. At that time, she wouldn't let me go see my friends in California. After that, I swallowed 젠장 every time it came out, like the bile and the guts of my stomach. It lost its sweetness, turning bitter sour in my mouth. Shit was better than this. My mother had always taken pride in the way she carved the skin off of fruit so thin, she would leave no trace of skin on the fruit and no trace of fruit on the skin. She said that she's self-taught. One day she was just bored, so she took up a knife and started carving. She was carving as she said this, and I examined her fingers as if when I were to look away, she would surely get cut. Neither of us noticed when the knife drew too close to her thumb and pricked the skin, and it was only when the bead of blood had finally emerged on the surface of her finger that she let out a dignified shit and smeared it off with a napkin. Summer 2016. You were in a band, and I dug your music, so we made out on your balcony on a damp summer night. We spun a fervent wheel of desire, enough to keep us satisfied, when you texted me out of the blue, saying you wanted to try going for it, something more. My throat was on the floor at the thought, and I spiraled through the ways in which I could let you down easy. But before I could say anything, you pushed it further, saying, "Let's give it a shot," and I was a fish with a hook caught in my, and I was a fish caught with a hook in my lip when you finished your thought, until the band bursts in and says, "Yoko, you gotta go." The next thing I remember, I'm typing, "Am I Yoko because I'm Asian? Am I Yoko because I'm Asian? Am I Yoko because I'm Asian?" echoed through our message log until it was drained out by my maniacal laughter. Round trip, 20 plus hours. 1. I saw specks of green in the tiled field of Incheon International Airport. Held my breath at the thrill of stepping upon this land for the first time to leave a print as proof that I was here. I breathed in the Hangulmar spoken around me, felt brown eyes match my own passing. As I looked around at each person, I waited for the moment when we would hold our gaze for a split second longer, as if to hold on to our sameness, to keep drowning in that ecstasy. But as that moment never came, I came to realize that here it was extraneous. I was in new waters and treading at the surface to breathe. 2. She was no stranger to strangeness, but she hadn't expected it when she faced the land of her elders, and by extension, her origin. The image of her likeness to the people in this land froze in a single moment, and the difference her face had held back at home started to morph like the muddled Korean spilling from her lips. She had no home address here, nothing to share with anyone through her shy accent cracked with self-consciousness. Her eerie familiarity with being cast as outsider was her 12-hour fever dream during her flight back home to the land of the free. A pity party with my ignorant self. I waded through the swamps of my own history, muddy and blurred by time and ruthless disposal, and came upon the carcass of my ignorant self in all her unworldliness, a mere shell discarded by the edge of the water. I passed a hand over her facade, ridden with blisters, waiting for a response, a sign of presence. In her stillness, I wept, my tears pooled like blood. I mourned my young and foolish self, the self I had known to be, so unaware of the world she had come from. She who did not recognize the line of predecessors whom she closely followed, oblivious to the countless eyes that pointed toward her distinctive racial pigmentation. My ignorant self that the present me had only now come to love. The present me that my ignorant self will never come to know. The putrid remains of a me I had once come to resent for her life of ease, for her song of naivete. She was a sparrow who flew too close to the clouds, misguided by her trust in the world, white bodies around her. Unaware of the festering wounds in her wing. Had I known that she had been suffering? No, had she known that she had been suffering blows against her existence, year after year, slur after slur, pondering after pondering, could she have avoided such a brutal end? This tale of her unraveling is the place in which my tale begins. In my grief, I drifted like a ghost, brought my naked body into the swamp and shaved the mud off my breast, dried myself and then donned the skin of her corpse like a costume, and I absconded with her lair joined to mine, gliding through the night like a phantom thief. Thank you.
My grandfather once told me how he and his mother would set up a table in the poorest streets so that the hungry might have their stomachs filled with warm rice, rather than with dirt. The dirt lined their empty pockets and stitched their patchwork shacks together and blanketed their fallen father's urns. The dirt crawled its way down their throats, settling home in their stomachs, choking the years from their system. The dirt was ash and the ash was dirt. They ate dirt to feel full, but my great-grandmother felt their fullness, a hollow star to their darkness, fueled by melancholy and desperation. And so she shifted and steamed the fragility of her neighbors into hope, which she spooned into bowls and plates and platters, and not a grain of hope was begotten. My grandfather once told me, when they would send my family home with coolers of kimchi and bulgogi and apples and oranges and chestnuts, it was to lift the weight of those days. My grandmother refuses to speak much on Korea. A shadow covers her. Four figures dashing through the shadows, hearts wrenching and thrashing and collapsing and eclipsing. Silence has never been so loud. And so she and her mother and her sister and her adopted brother fled, mortal coil and flux, slipping through a closing crevice of the border, only to slip back into crevices of echo-hungry mountains, hiding for weeks in a bundle of trembling embraces, while her father and brother remained to toil their fields so that the government would not suspect their absence. Every year, the North Korean government will let a few families have contact with North Korean family members. The list of applications numbers hundreds of thousands, and so, like most, my grandmother's heartbreak has been swallowed up and lost in the plethora of silence. She has applied every year since she left, and she knows not who lives or whether a day exists that she should honor any dead. I fear she has never felt home since. A permanent immigrant. When my dad prodded gently from the boat onto Angel Island, he was but 5. He and his parents had the clothes draped upon them, a small suitcase and less than $100. Dad had escaped the thrashing waves of the sea, only to be thrown back into the nausea of English, swaying his ground and sloshing its way down his throat. In this strange new sea, there was no one to guide them through the currents. Other families were swept away in the embrace of family. He remembers the ever-expansive desolation of their new home. When Dad was 18, he had to choose whether to keep his dual citizenship. To remain a Korean citizen, he should bestow 2 years of military service. But Dad had long forgotten how Korea's air felt in his lungs, and without oxygen, his heart paled and seized and remembered no love. So Dad cut Korea up from his chest and cradled America into the gap. He has never felt Korean American. He feels American. And taking grasp of these 2 years, he chased the American dream, attending U of M, where he fell for my mom, allowing me to stand before you here. And thus, I have grown up in a home of IKEA cinnamon rolls and Harry Potter marathons and s'more-smeared firefly-dotted camping trips. Melatonin is an endangered species in my Wonder Bread town, therefore I grew to expect nothing less than being mistaken as Chinese and pointing out Korea on a map, being guided to a darker colored crayon and explaining the inexistence of my hatred of blacks to my 5th grade teacher. When I was 11, I was supposed to go to South Korea with my grandparents. But my parents swaddled me in America's ethnically ambiguous bosom for fear of persecution, of my mother's curves, her nose, her thighs, her curl of the hair, draped over my figure like a soiled cloak. My grandfather wanted to send me to a Korean military academy. Both my parents had never taught me, though, how to pickle Korean kimchi or how to dance in Dutch wooden clogs, and so they told him no, painting me in stripes and sprinkling me in stars. I don't know Korea, but I would very much like to be introduced. I know that she's blossoming into a fresh creature, that some nights that when I meet her, I won't recognize the eyes my grandfather has spoken of. But some nights, she'll wander into my dreams, cloaking me in her arms. The arms my grandparents yearned to return to. Thank you.
We have featuring Meng Qiao, San Yu, and Qi Wei with their Chinese traditional performance on guzheng and pipa. Brian, I bet you don't know what is guzheng or pipa.
You know, I actually learned this week.
Oh, okay.
Educate us on some of that stuff.
Okay. Educate, alright. So you do know that pipa, that's guzheng. I'm gonna start out with pipa, the smaller one. You know,
It's not on stage right
pipa is a 4-string Chinese instrument, and guzheng is a plucked Chinese instrument, and they all have been around for more than 2,500 years. Can you
Yep.
believe it?
That's some ancient history right here.
Yeah, we got more. Ask me.
Yep. Who do we have following them?
Oh yeah, next one we got Gu Qi, performed by Sherry Chen. And how long has Gu Qi been around? You got a mic, okay.
Thank you very much. It has been around for over 2,500 years.
You're wrong. More than 3,000 years. That's why Gu in Chinese stands for ancient. Wow, we have a lot of ancient instruments around here today. It's like traveling back in time. Hope you guys enjoy.
Let's hear it, everybody.
Thank you.